Hi Taurus, welcome to Yellow Cardinal Tarot with me. My name is Carol. And Taurus, this is going to be your October 2024 reading, and it's a general reading. And today we're going to be doing a reading called Healing Yourself. And I was particularly interested in these oracle cards that I've sort of had my eye on for a while. And some of you may be aware of what they are. They're called Healing Yourself reading cards by Ina Segal. Now, the reason why I purchased those was, I'm going to be honest, was because of Ina Segal. In 2020, I had some significant energy healing, distance energy healing from an energy healer in Australia, and I live in Canada. And it was probably the energy work that absolutely blew me away. And she would read from this book every time she would go through my chakras and tell me what she could see in my body and what needs to be healed. She would read from a book, and I thought, where are you getting this from? And so I asked her, I said, what book are you reading from? And this was in 2020. So she said, I'm reading from The Secret Language of Your Body by Ina Segal. And it's a book that I was unfamiliar with, and it's just, you can see that I've used it quite a bit. And it just has, almost every ailment in here you can imagine. Anything that, can happen to your body, illnesses, ailments, anything. Like, let's imagine you cut your finger, and, depending on what finger you cut and what hand you cut, you can actually look that up. So you can look up like a cut, and you can look up, your index finger. You can look up your right hand. And so it'll get that specific sometimes. So you can look up 2 or 3 things for, each ailment or that you're looking for. And what it does, it really gives you an intuitive look at what's going on in your body because of, let's say, a rash that you've developed, or an illness that's coming up, or a cough, or even like a cold, or I'm just picking some, some pretty normal ones, but then there's others that it gets more into depth of what's going on with your body. And so Ina Segal is an intuitive healer from Australia herself. And so what I'm going to do in this reading is I'm going to pull from her deck, her oracle deck. I'm going to pull a main card. And I think this oracle deck has, I don't know how many cards are in it, 30 something, I think. 36. Yeah, so I'm going to pull the main card, and I'm going to read from her book what she's written about it. And then that's sort of going to be our focus. We're going to have that on the side. And then I'm going to look at what sort of situation, problem, pattern is coming up for you right now, what you're dealing with in your life. And then we're going to kind of relate it to, again, what this healing card is all about. And then we're going to look at your shadow, and we're going to look at what's coming up from your shadow to heal. And so we're going to be doing some shadow work in part 2. If you're unfamiliar with that term, shadow work, I've left a really good video for you in my description box below called My Powerful 4-Step Guide to Shadow Work. And it's one that I put together on my other channel called Carol Cares. It's Carol with an E. And so you can have a look at that if you want. And then finally what we're going to do is we're going to ask the tarot for some advice on how you can begin to heal this. And so once I've done that, I'm going to also pull a spirit animal card for you at the end. And so in today's reading, like I said, I'll be using Ina Segal's oracle cards. I'll be using the Tarot Grand Luxe, and I'll also be using Tarot Vintage, and one card from the Radiant Rider-Waite deck. So a few things going on here. So what I'm going to do is let's start by pulling a healing card for you, and then I think I'll deal out the rest, and then we'll get into your card. Okay, so let's pull a healing card for you first, and I'm just going to pull one. It's not about pulling 2 here, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully we're going to pull 1. So one card for Taurus. One card for Taurus, please. There we go. Okay, so just gonna give me 1 sec here to set up. Too much stuff on the table, I think. Okay, so you have number 12. So I'm just gonna pull something over here. Okay. All right, and then we'll set you up, and then we'll read what's going on with that card. And I'm going to ask for 3 cards here. So can I have a card for the situation, problem, pattern that Taurus is dealing with right now? So we'll have 1 card for that, please. You have the Justice card. And in the middle, what's coming up from Taurus's shadow for healing? We have the 3 of Coins, which is the 3 of Pentacles, and right underneath it you have the Knight of Wands. And 1 card, please, from Advice from the Tarot. This one definitely wanted to come out here. The Chariot in reverse. The Chariot in reverse. Okay. Okay, so we'll go to the vintage, the Tarot Vintage for some clarification. Can I have some clarification for? And these cards I did shuffle, by the way, before I came on. I did forget to mention that I am doing personal readings. So if you're interested in that, you can go to the link. It'll be in my description box and also in my comments below. And yeah, and it takes you to my takes you to my website, Carol Cares. And on that website, there are about 6 readings on there that you can choose from. So take a look at that if you're interested. So let's have some clarification for this Justice card right here. 2 to 3 cards, please. I think that's good. So you have the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. Behind that you have the 5 of Swords and the 4 of Cups. And 3 cards, please, for this 3 of Coins and the Knight of Wands. I'll have 1 here, which is the 2 of Swords. And a couple more, please. Lots wanted to come out here. All right, so you have the King of Pentacles in reverse. Shadow, you have quite a few cards here that are wanting to come out. 4 of Wands wants to talk to you. 5 of Wands in reverse. And the 9 of Pentacles. And the Chariot card, please. 2 to 3 cards for that. The Judgment in reverse. Queen of Pentacles in reverse. And the Star card and Temperance. Okay. And then I'll pull a spirit animal for you, and I'll put that over here so I remember. If I remember, sometimes I forget. If I forget, I'll come back on and do it and then attach it to it. Done that before. Okay. Let's take a look at what this Victim Consciousness card number 12 is saying. So, I'll show you the pick in a sec, and I will read it. It's not that long, but I think it's important for me to read it. I'm going to put the quote, the main quote that she gives for each card. I'll put it on my screen so you'll see that. So the main quote is, "Stop blaming others and take responsibility for what you are creating." It's easy to think that life is unfair and point a finger at others. If you hear yourself saying, "Life is unfair. Bad things always happen to me. I'm not good enough. Nobody cares about me. Why me? I can't do what I want to do," etc., then you are losing your power, nourishing your victim aspect, and ascertaining your place in the victim club. Your inner victim can stop you from moving forward by creating dramas, making you judge others, telling you that you don't deserve better, and keeping you stuck in a financial rut. You need to build your internal confidence, self-worth, and courage. Get out of your comfort zone and work on expanding and growing in all areas of your life. The light side of the victim archetype is the victorious part, which can help you to hold your power without getting angry and attacking others. It can also assist you to create healthy boundaries and act from a place of honesty, integrity, compassion, and love. So, so stop blaming others and take responsibility for what you are creating. So let's just look at how this victim mentality is preventing you from moving forward. And, that whole unworthiness part is feeling like you're unworthy and it's not fair and things like that, and how that's affecting you. So let's look at what situation you're sitting in right now, Taurus. So you're starting off, first of all, with the Justice card. And so that's the situation you're sitting in, whether it's a pattern and the Justice card, it's a major arcana card, first of all. So it's this big universal force here. And so I'm seeing here that there's a situation that you're sitting in right now. You're wanting to bring justice to the situations, which means you're trying to bring balance to it. And you're really, I really like to focus on that sword. You're trying to get to your truth about something, right? And the sword is all about authenticity, about truth, bringing a balance to that in your life. And maybe you're trying to be more authentic in your life, trying to be more real in your relationships. You're striving for it. You're wanting authenticity. And definitely wanting to get to the truth about something here. And, there's something here that's happened to you. The Wheel of Fortune is showing up right after that. And it could be something that you're feeling, it could be something from the past that's happened to you. And because it's in reverse right now. And so in an upright position, the Wheel of Fortune talks about, life goes on and things happen and circumstances change here. But when I see the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, it's almost like you're in a stuck position here. And I'm not sure if that reading talked about being stuck, but we're looking at, what's stopping you from moving forward here. So I'm seeing here that you are feeling some stuckness in your life right now. And, you're trying to get that wheel back turning again. But there's something here that's not right for you, that you're trying to get to the bottom of it. And so the Five of Swords card comes in right after that. And the Five of Swords talks about this individual here is looking quite smug with what he's done. He's won this battle, but you look at the clouds there and how they're all jagged, right? There's like something suspicious going on here. I call my Five of Swords the bullying card, because I really pay attention to this individual right back here, who's got his hand like this. And whenever I am grieving, sometimes I'm not sure whether it's grief or it's shame, if it's a combination of it, but I will put my hand like this in my face and I know that I'm dealing with shame. And so this is the shame that's coming up here. And so there is some shame, some unworthiness that is coming up for you to heal right now in regards to maybe the truth that you're trying to get to. There's some shame behind it. With shame, you have to remember that shame is a big emotion. And it's not something that we're born with. It's something that's given to us by our caregivers when we were younger, by other adults, kids in the schoolyard. It's bullies. And it's something that's given to us and we carry it around and we think it's ours. And it's probably the shittiest feeling in the world. And I call it shitty. It starts with SH for a reason. Because it feels absolutely lousy. And I know I often don't know when I'm grieving from it, like I said, and I'll get this yucky feeling and I'll walk around with it all day and it's like, what is this? What is this? What is this? And I'll finally get to grieving and I'll go like this. And like I said, it's like, oh, it's been shame. This is shame that's coming up for me. So you have the shame here. And I think what's happened to you is because of this shame that's coming up, and maybe you're sitting with feeling this, and everybody has shame on a continuum. There's not one person that doesn't have it. You just don't hear people talk about it much. But I think you're pretty shut down to wanting to feel this heaviness here, and that's part of your stuckness, because when we get stuck, it's because you have these parts of you that are battling out inside of you. So for example here, your shame is coming up, and that's a big emotion. And you'll have your ego self who is petrified of emotions, and it'll come up and go, you're not feeling that, and we're shutting this all down. And that's where you get this battle of these two parts of you inside that are battling. One wants to feel this. There's an inner part of you that wants to feel the shame that's carrying it. And there's another part, like I said, the ego self's going, nope, we're not touching this. And here's that, we're not touching this. So there's a big part of you that's kind of, this individual's crossing their arms, has the 3 cups in front of them. And says, no thanks, I'm good with my 3 cups. But there's an offer here from the universe. And it's like it's the ace of cups here. It's a gift from the universe. It's saying, listen, it's time to go inwards again. It's time to deal with this. Yeah, but I've already done this. I've already dealt with this shit. Why do I have to deal with it again? Unfortunately, we got to deal with the same emotion over and over and over again because we spiral on different levels. It's that whole thing of the onion peeling away. Just last night and yesterday, I sat in some more loneliness, and I'm like, how many frickin' times do I have to sit in my loneliness? But it's just going deeper and deeper and deeper, and it's pulling stuff from your childhood and from your adolescence here. And so this is what the universe is saying, it's Taurus, like we gotta go deeper a bit here. We gotta get to the shame of what you're dealing with, what's happening here, your situation where you're trying to get to the bottom of this. And I think part of the reason, like I said, why you're stuck and you're wanting justice is because you're trying to figure out what the hell this feeling is, maybe. And because, like I said, shame's shitty, we don't want to touch it. And our ego self is petrified and doesn't want to touch it. So you have a big story here of what's coming up in your childhood here that is really, or from your shadow, which is your childhood, your adolescence here, that is going to be what's impacting or having the most influence on what you're dealing with right now. So where is this shame coming from that is causing you to feel this victim consciousness? How is this right here? We're going to find out what is preventing you from moving forward here so you don't feel like this victim anymore, right? Of wanting to get to the bottom of this. And so you start off with the 3 of coins and the Knight of Wands that came together. The 3 of coins is the 3 of Pentacles, and it really is a card of co-creation. And but it's sitting in your shadow here. And because this is a healing channel, it often talks about getting some extra help, getting therapy, getting someone to support you. This came in your shadow though. So if it came from your shadow, it's from your adolescence, and it's in reverse here. So this tells me very much so that when you were younger, you didn't have the support. You didn't have people to validate you. There were big emotions, big things that happened to you when you were younger, and you didn't have anybody to support you and validate you and carry you through that. And so that's why we end up, carrying this shame on our shoulders our entire life until we get it off, until we grieve that stuff. And then right behind it, you have the Knight of Wands. And the Knight of Wands speaks to me of this, like an adolescent part of us that just wants to be free. And they want to be free. I mean, who doesn't want to be free in this world? Every single person wants to be free. They want to be free to be authentic, want to be free to be themselves. And so there was this big part of you when you were younger that you wanted freedom to take your life in a certain direction, because it's the wands here. So it's this freedom to do what you wanted to do when you were younger. There's something here about wanting to do what you wanted to, wanting the freedom to be authentic and to do what you wanted to do when you were younger, but you were kind of held back here because you didn't have the support or the validation by people around you, your caretakers here. And then you have this decision card here, like, you know, there's these swords, and it usually talks about a decision that has to be made, but it's really because again it's in your shadow. It's like you at a very young age shut down. You really shut down. Look at this individual here, and I'm going to say your authentic self shut down. Whoever you were, your real you was shut down. And look at this individual here. Just shuts down, not willing to feel. You have this water here back here that's flowing, and whenever there's water in a card, doesn't matter what card it is, and there's lots of it in this card, that represents our emotions. And so this individual right here is so much in their head, because when we're younger, and if we get this feeling of not being supported or validated when you're younger and wanting to do something and just not feeling like anybody's going to support you, you really feel like you don't matter. And if you feel like you don't matter, well, you're going to go into your head, because that huge feeling of unworthiness and I not matter, a kid can't carry that around. They just can't. It's too big. And so what happens is they get out of their body, because our emotions are all in our body, all of them. You know, even this book right here that I talked about earlier, and she talks about emotions all the time and what sort of emotions you're holding with this illness or this ailment that you get. And so it's fascinating in that, because she's very intuitive in that she gets you into your body, and this is where I'm trying to get you, is back into your body here. So I'm sure that's going to come up here, because this individual tells me that you went into your head when you were younger with these two swords, and you were, you know, and you didn't want to come out. You have this blindfold on, and you didn't, because that was safe for you. It was really safe. When we're younger and shit happens to us, trauma happens to us, we're not validated, and that's a lot of reason why we get this trauma. If we're not validated with what's going on with us and feeling like we don't matter, we will go up in our heads and we'll stay there, because we can't stay in our bodies. Most kids, like when you're 4, 5, 6 years old, you are in your body. You're very intuitive. You're in your body. You feel all your emotions until they start to get shut down, and then you go into your head. Right behind it is the King of Pentacles, and you know, it tells me again that you were shut down, because the King of Pentacles is our ego self. The king is our ego self in my deck. It's the masculine part of us. And that's what takes over when you're younger, because it wants to protect you from these big emotions. And the pentacle is the body here. So that's your ego self saying, we got to get out of this body and we got to get back up to our head, because that's not where our emotions are. And so we can stay there because it's a safe place. The ego self wants you to stay where it's safe still today. And here's this Four of Wands that tells me that, you know, you were ready to go out there and celebrate and be you, be the person that you wanted to be, right? You were very close to something. Maybe you know what it was that you wanted to do when you were younger, but there was definitely something here. But again, this Five of Wands just tells me that, you know, this is a card that is in reverse. It's the Five of Wands, and that's the battle of the ego, the battle of the egos, I should say. These individuals that are comparing themselves to other people, right? And, you know, and all these wands are like, you know, I'm not good enough. I can't do this. And so there's like things like, what were you told when you were younger? And those are the kind of the things that you still believe, right? Because it made you feel less than, and all these, and whatever it is you wanted to do, you just didn't feel worthy enough to do it. And here's the Nine of Pentacles. This is a person that's very much present and very much in their body, And I think here that, you know, that would have been lost for you, that presence of feeling, you know, in your body, like I said, just feeling like, you know, you matter, and making decisions from our body, feeling very present. And oftentimes, you know, when we do go up in our heads, we dissociate, and that helps us deal with, when we're younger, it helps us deal with the big emotions that are coming up. And so definitely have some unworthiness is coming up. And like I said, going into your head. And that's where that victim consciousness comes out when I see this card here. You know, just kind of shutting right down. And here's the victim consciousness again, right? Where your ego self gets in conflict, and you in conflict with others, and you start to compare yourself, like you're not good enough, and all that stuff of comparing. Maybe you still do it. Maybe you still compare yourself a lot, and thinking, you know, there's something you want to do, and you know, I did this, I'll go online and I'll see other tarot readers, and I think, I shouldn't be doing this. I don't read like they do. Well, no, I'm not them, right? And so I'm different, and I read it in a different way, and I'm okay with that. And then, so what's the advice from the tarot here, so that you can get this wheel of fortune right here, this wheel turning again, right? So you can get out of your stuckness, so you can move forward and stop blaming others maybe, and sort of take responsibility for, you know, we can blame others for sure when you get into this victim consciousness, and maybe that is your issue or not, right? But it's time here to go, you know what? I got to take care of this. Sure, other people shit on me when I was younger. Yeah, and I have all this stuff in my shadow, but they're not going to be the ones that are going to help you heal this. It has to come from you. And so here's the Chariot card. And the Chariot card speaks of, it's in reverse, but in an upright position, the Chariot talks about, you know, these two horses that are being driven here. And, you know, he doesn't have they're pretty wild. He doesn't really have a good grip on them. He's trying. He's been, you know, using so much of his willpower to try to control these horses. And I can see here that you've been trying to control this. We talked about you being up in your head. And of course you are. Most of us are. Most of us live from our head because we don't want to go into our bodies, which is what I'm trying to do in this particular reading, is to recognize, you know, we need to go inwards. And this Chariot card is a card that says, you know, you've spent a long time up here trying to control things, and it's time now. It's time to start to get into your body, to go inwards. And this is what the Chariot card talks about. It talks about movement, and there is no movement here. But the Chariot card does not talk about physical movement. It talks about a different type of movement, and that's the movement to go inwards, right? Because you can't keep on trying to control this. You've got to get back into your body and get in touch with your intuition, and that's your inner guidance. But the only way to get in touch with that is to get back in your body here. And here's your Queen of Pentacles. I was kind of looking, thinking there's got to be intuition coming up here, and there was. So we'll talk about that when we get to it. Here's a Judgment card for you. Judgment card in an upright position speaks about a calling. It's a calling. You're hearing something. It's like you're being called, and maybe you feel it. It's like maybe there's something here, like I said, that you wanted to do, or Taurus, I don't know, but there's this calling here. There's angels calling these people, and they're rising from their sleep. And so maybe it's just a question of, you know, it could be something you want to do, or it's a question of, you know, are you sleeping? Are you sleeping? Are you still up in your head? Are you stuck there? I had someone put a comment on one of my videos the other day, and it was like, and they said, oh yeah, I just live in my head, and most of us do, and make all decisions from our head. But that's not our true self. Our true self is getting back into our body. So there's a real calling here for you to wake up, to get back into your body, because, you know, maybe there's a calling here for you to go in a certain direction. And you have the Queen of Pentacles in reverse here. And she's the queen of the body, because the pentacle is the body. And the queen is the feminine side of us. All those good things like intuition and feeling our emotions and stillness. and getting into our body. If out of all the queens, she's the one that lives from her body. She makes all her decisions, feeling her emotions, using her intuition, and getting into her body, because you have to be in your body to access your intuition, which is your inner guidance. Everybody has that. We think that this is our guidance, but our true intuition is inside of our body. There's some real healing that needs to take place, is what the tarot was saying, right? And there's some healing of emotions that needs to take place. And that's what the Star card comes. It's the Major Arcana card that comes after the big Tower card. And it's just, and there's water in here. And this particular individual is becoming very naked, very vulnerable with themselves. And they're just going to start dipping their toe, right? Like this Temperance card here. Again, another Major Arcana card, that dipping their toe. Temperance talks about middle ground here. We're just going to do it a little bit at a time, because, we started off with you kind of closed off and not wanting to take that cup. And I know when I had to, because this, I didn't say this, but because this Queen of Pentacles right here is in reverse, I mean, you could be feeling when the Queen is in reverse, she can really feel hopeless. And she can feel anger, like any one of those, where you can be feeling some real hopelessness, especially if you're dealing with victim consciousness, if you're dealing with, because self-worth, unworthiness. And I know when I had to get in touch with some of my anger that I had a hard time reaching, I was told, just turn the faucet on a little bit. And if, here's this cup right here, just turn the faucet on a little bit. And when things get too tough, you shut it down again. You just tell the universe, you know what? I can't do this. This is too painful for me. And next time, try to, ground into your body a little bit more and see what it is. Feel this shame. Grieve this shitty, shitty shame that needs to come up for you right here. There is one important card that I forgot to mention. It's right here. So I'm going to do it now, and then I'm going to do your pick your oracle card here for you at the end. Your spirit animal. This card in particular is the overriding energy of this entire reading, and it came from your yearly 2024 reading that I did for you in January. And so I pulled your card, Taurus, for October, and it was the Six of Wands. And I'm not making this up, but I would have said this at the beginning. So the Six of Wands is a card that talks about all my sixes. There's 4 sixes in the deck, and it talks about, for the minor arcana, it talks about a duality. And so on one hand, you look at this card and you think, oh, this is a card of winning. He's coming back. He has the victory wreaths coming back from, winning a battle, but it's the card of duality. So you got to look at what's lost. There's something under that green blanket here that's lost. And so this card often, to me, when it comes up, refers to loss, grief, sadness. What do we need to grieve here? What have you lost? What is it you need to grieve? Why do you have this unworthiness here? What is it that you need to grieve that you weren't allowed to do? You weren't supported when you were younger. You didn't have the freedom to be you, to be authentic, because right now you are wanting that. You want your freedom. You want authenticity. You can feel the pull towards that. But there's some emotions here that are blocking that, and that's what we have to do when we want to take our life into a new direction. We need to deal with our emotions all the time. There's something that blocks us before we can take that next step. And so let me pull a spirit animal card for you, Taurus. And this one wanted to come out. So card number 45, you have Parrot Spirit. Watch your words. What are you repeating to yourself? That's interesting. Is it something that makes you feel good about yourself and reminds you of your strengths and potential? Parrots mimic the sounds around them, and when Parrot Spirit appears, it's time to be more mindful of your self-talk and its qualities. Remembering to speak with light and love can become a habit. Be generous with compliments and thanks, affirming all that is good so that your loving, healing words will be heard throughout the jungle, cutting through the noise and inspiring others. The universe will reflect back to you the story you tell. Words matter. So choose ones that lift you up and inspire others to remember that beauty surround us. But I think it's really important that you have to choose the words. And like I said, what are you telling yourself here with these Two of Swords here? You know, what sort of belief systems, and with this Five of Wands that was in reverse, what kind of things are you telling yourself that you're unworthy? Right? Where is this coming from? And so, like I said, there's some healing of shame and grief that you have to get to heal that, Taurus. So I want you to have compassion for yourself for what you're working through. This is for sure the most difficult journey of your life, the inward journey in healing yourself, but it's the most important one. So take care, and I'll talk to you in a couple of weeks. Bye.